Hey there everyone, it's Lynnea for Sassy and Crafty. I'm creating a card today with the new My Kind of Crazy stamp set and the Awesome Stars stencil. I fell in love with the adorable kitty and bunny holding an ice cream cone as soon as I saw this stamp set. I love ice cream, my son loves ice cream, and so we go with a friend and her son to go get ice cream sometimes in the summer. And I just thought this was the cutest little image. So I'm going to use this to create a card. And it's going to be a 1-layer card. I have recently been in a bit of a rut creatively. And so I have been trying to push myself out of this rut. So I'm going to take an idea that I did, it's probably been about a year, where I did some offset ink blending and stenciling with glitz glitter gel, but I'm going to turn it into a 1-layer card. So I grabbed that image from the My Kind of Crazy stamp set, and I stamped it in the center-ish of my card front, and I also have the sentiment that I stamped right below. Now I'm going to do some coloring. I'm starting with some warm grays for the bunny. I'm going to be using W4 to start with, and I'm just going to give some shadows to the areas where I think there should be some darkness. So any parts that are kind of overlapping, so where the kitty is leaning up against the bunny's head, there'll be a shadow there. And so I'm going to keep the shadows kind of on that side of my image. Shadows are not something that I'm very good at. There's a lot of easy ways to do this. People say to picture a light source up ahead, and so your light will be on the top or on the left or the right. It's something I struggle with and something that I'm working on. But my Copic coloring is still very simple, even though I'm still working on it. So I started with W4, pulled out the shadows with W3, and then W2, and then W0. And now I'm coming in with some R20 for the cheeks. And I'll add those to the cheeks and then blend out a little bit with the W0. Now let's move on to the cat. So for the cat, I'm going to do some earth browns. So I'm starting with E57 as my darkest. And again, I'm kind of following those same rules. Anywhere that the images are touching, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to that area. So on the arm here, on the cat's head where it's touching the bunny's head, and then on the inside of the legs as well as right underneath her dress. E55 is what I'm calling my medium dark color, since I'm coloring with 4 colors. I have a dark medium and a light medium. So after I add my darkest color, I'll come in with my medium color, that's the darker of the medium, and pull out those shadows just a little bit. And just kind of extend them a bit towards the center. I just think that it's easiest to blend if I go darkest first, but there are a lot of ways to color with markers. Some people like to start by covering their image with their lightest color and saturating the paper, and then moving up to the next darkest and then the next darkest, and then moving back down in a reverse pattern towards your lightest color. I like to start with the darkest and then work to the lightest. I think this is the best way to get those darkest of dark shadows and the lightest of light highlights. It's easy to keep those highlights in if I start with my darkest. They kind of blend out a little bit too much if I start with my lightest and work up from there. Shadows are something, like I said, that I've really been working on, because sometimes when I see my coloring and I think that there's too harsh of a line, I go back and I try to blend it out, when really you want those shadows, you want those dark lines, and you want those light portions as well. So I'm going to start coloring here on the little dresses, and I'm just going to color this dress some blue-green color. I love this color combination. It's one of my favorites. And then I'll go in with a blue-violet, kind of like a bluish purple color for the cat's dress, starting with BV04. Again, starting with the shadows is what's easiest for me. Color, however, is easiest for you. These images would be perfect to color with colored pencils or watercolors. Anything that you have, anything you're comfortable with, that's how you should color. I firmly believe there is no right way and no wrong way to color. However you feel comfortable coloring, that's how you should color. I'm just going to finish up here with my medium light, and then I actually have a blue marker, a B63, as my lightest color for this little blue-violet dress here. I'm going to color the ice cream so it's strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. And then I will add some white dots for kind of like little glitter marks, as well as some gel pen highlights. I gave the little bunny some polka dots on her dress and the little cat some stripes on her dress. You could definitely omit this step. I just thought it was cute to add a little more character and detail to those clothes. Now I have some Gina K Designs Masking Magic. Any masking paper will work for this, but because I want to create a one-layer card, I need to stamp the images onto masking paper and then cut them out. So you can see there that I also stamped the sentiment strip and I cut that out as well. I'm just going to peel back this masking backing paper and very carefully line it up with my stamped image, press it on, and then I'm good to go. Now, a word of caution, I did not let my ink dry well enough on the masking paper, so as I was pressing it on, I got a little bit of the ink bleeding off to in between the cat and the bunny, and then off to the right side of the bunny as well. It doesn't really bother me, it kind of looks like a shadow, so I'm just going to call it a shadow and let it add to the overall design of my card. I also added that masking paper strip over my sentiment. Now I'm grabbing the Awesome Stars stencil. This stencil is what I call a chunky stencil. There's a lot of actual stencil to this, and then not a lot of portions. I shouldn't say not a lot, but there's smaller areas where the ink is actually going to come through. There's a lot of the stencil that is making contact with my card. Since I'm going to do some ink blending and then shift this and do more things, I didn't want to use pixie spray. I have a bit of a bad habit of being kind of heavy-handed, and so I didn't want there to be any trouble with me picking this up and shifting it. So I'm just going to grab my handy-dandy purple tape and tape this down. I didn't have any problems with shifting or bleeding of the stencil. The purple tape worked just great. I'm coming in with a hybrid ink. For me, this is an important step because the Glitz Glitter Gel that I'm going to put on next is reactive. It'll reactivate the inks that you put down. So if you were to use a distress ink, you would get some smearing of your ink and mixing colors. It's totally fine if that's the look you're going for, but I wanted to make sure my gold stayed gold and didn't mix in with the pink and make like a rose gold color. So I used a hybrid ink. But if you only have dye inks, you could definitely do this and you'll get a fun effect. But I do recommend drying your ink with your heat tool before you move on to this next step. I pulled up my stencil, gave it a quick wipe down, and then I repositioned it slightly up and to the right of my pink stenciled stars. Now I'm grabbing my gold Glitz Glitter Gel and I'm going to just put this right over the top with my stencil, or with my palette knife rather. I'm running out, so I need to definitely order some more of this. It goes great with this Awesome Stars stencil. I'm going to use a palette knife, now a larger palette knife, and spread this Glitz Glitter Gel all over the stencil. The idea of the stencil pal that I'm using is to evenly apply your paste over your stencil. It's a great tool to have, especially with a chunky stencil like this Awesome Stars stencil, because if you use just a regular palette knife, you might end up denting some of your Glitz Glitter Gel as you are stenciling onto this. I'm going to remove all that purple tape, and then you're going to see, check this out, see how there's that little bit of pink peeking out from behind the stars. I'll peel back the masking tape. Normally, I would say to definitely save your masking paper, but because I have ink and Glitz Glitter Gel on top of here, I'm going to throw it in the waste bin, but you could definitely keep this if you want to. You can use tweezers to peel this up. I'm going to be daring and just try to grab it with my fingernail and peel it right up. I love how that Awesome Stars stencil peeks out from behind the cat and the bunny because we did that masking. I let this dry for about 30 minutes, and check this out. So much shimmer and shine. That Awesome Star stencil looks so cute, and I love those two little friends in the center of the card. That's it for today, guys. Really simple. If you are in a creative rut, I encourage you to find some inspiration, even if it's your own technique from a previous card, and give it another try with a little bit of a twist. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye. Thank you again very much for watching this video. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button that is on the screen now. And here are a few other videos that I thought you might enjoy.